friends. Today I am excited because I am joined by a special guest, my husband, Kevin.
Hello.
Hello. So Kevin actually doesn't know why we're doing the video today or what we're going to be talking about. So he will be along for the ride with you. I wanted us to do a video because we are talking about some big life decisions in our family and what we want to be doing in the next chapter of our life. And we have a lot of big decisions to make. And we're kind of working through it.
Yeah.
Feeling a little cloudy.
Yes.
And as I was thinking about it, I was like, what could help us feel less cloudy and more clear in our decision making?
Yeah, the clarity. Why not?
So I thought, we often show friends using the cards together, but I also wanted to show that it's something that you can use with your partner, especially when you have like a big life choice to make.
Quite a few life choices to make, so yeah.
So share a little bit about what you feel are some of like the choices on the table right now that we're thinking through.
Homeschooling is the big one for the children who we really think love spending time with us. We love spending time with them. Moving out of the city, living in a not necessarily rural, but suburban area, and seeing whether we can sort of limit how much waste we produce, eat more healthily, and I don't know, I guess whether all of these are priorities for us and how to sift through that has really been a process.
A little rough. There's a lot of different things going on and maybe not sure which one to start with.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of competing priorities. We don't know if they're priorities or not. So,
which is our way.
Yeah, which is, then we do something.
So maybe just for purposes of our conversation today, why don't you pick one of those things you'd like clarity around or a question that you have? It could even be, what should we prioritize? And you don't have to say it out loud. Mm-hmm. Think of it. You got a puppy coming your way. Do you have something in mind?
I do.
Okay. Hey, Bubba, you want to be part of the conversation too? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Pick a card.
I always usually choose from the middle, so I'm going to choose from the side.
Because I feel like you're a little all over the place, maybe pick a topic card to ground the conversation too. So what'd you get?
Okay, I got rest and the sidekick. So rest is rest. The sidekick says, who is waiting to help you here? What must shift in you in order to receive this help? Interesting. This is actually, this is actually my question.
Really?
Yeah. Because I thought we were sort of in an impasse at whether to homeschool, not homeschool, move out of the city, not move out of the city, hence lower our cost of living, but whether that would be a smart choice in terms of our happiness and our stick-to-itiveness is, whether we'd be able to go out there and persist. I worry about sometimes being maybe caught out in the suburbs, more driving, and we don't really own a car, and we'd have to get a car and stuff, and where we're hoping where it's a little bit more serene and quiet, and I don't know whether or not that would drive us crazy. Like we need some of the city noise, we need some of the city things to do. We need some guidance from somebody who's done it or is also contemplating. So that's what I was thinking. It's not just going to sort of magically originate from us. So I was thinking, who could we ask?
That's kind of cool that what you were already thinking just popped up in the card.
Yeah.
So who do we know who could help us?
Well, I think you've explored some of the homeschooling communities here, and I think we should definitely ask people there who are doing it currently. So that's part of the homeschooling piece, and I think we should reach out to friends and ask if they know people who are living in more the outside of Lisbon. Yeah, and what they do. What does their day look like? What does school look like out there? What do their weekends look like? And
I've been reaching out to a lot of people through Facebook groups who live in these different areas. Also, I thought we were looking at rural areas, not suburban.
I'm not sure the difference. Because to me, it's all outside of the city.
To me, the suburbs are like houses right next to each other.
Yeah, not that.
Okay, so we're on the same page.
Yeah, not that.
We're talking about like going from the city out to like land.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a big change for us. And also just for context, we're living in a foreign country right now. We moved to Lisbon a year ago from the United States.
Yeah.
That was already a big change, and we've built an awesome community here. Part of that I felt was being able to find people in these local groups before we moved here and being able to make friends and make connections that way. So that's something that I've been researching in different areas that we're looking into. Does that feel like a good way to meet people, or does that feel like something's missing?
No, that feels like I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think, which is why it's good to actually look at the cards, because we need to sort of figure out how we go about this until I finally pull a trigger and say we're just going to go do something, or we do that together. But
You definitely make decisions faster than I do.
yeah, at some point I feel like I'm just going to be like, sorry, there's no more information we can get, no more guidance we can ask for, and we'll just go figure it out.
Well, it's interesting that you pulled that card and that you were thinking about that, because when I make decisions, I like to gather a ton of information and interview people and talk to folks and go visit a place and gather as much as I can ahead of time. And you don't. You're just like, cool, that sounds like a good idea. Let's do that.
Yeah, and not necessarily, but I do a lot of reading, and I don't do as much talking about it. I think to do more thinking about it, because everyone's experience of things is different, and ours is going to be interesting because we both lived in the city for a long time, Philadelphia, and now here. We do have a vibrant community, but also I think we're excited. We moved here, so we can do anything. So let's try this out.
It's interesting to me that you picked the rest card, just because you were talking about one of the things that you're trepidatious about in leaving a city. We like the hustle bustle of the city, and we like doing city stuff, and we're always on the move and trying new things and going different places. It's been a little tricky with the pandemic this year, but even so, we've done as much as we can. And that's one of the things you're worried about in living outside of the city, that it's going to be boring. So it's interesting to me that the rest card came up as a topic.
Yeah, and not so much boring. And maybe this is just phrasing it differently, but it's not boring. Am I going to be able to rise to the challenge and take advantage of quiet and of, not necessarily solitude, but it's going to be more quiet out there? Yeah, will I be able to rise up to the challenge and take advantage of that and do that and really embrace that and not be like, all right, this a week later, all right, it's too quiet here. This didn't work. I can hear too many of my thoughts. Let's go back to Lisbon. So the rest actually now that it's, I want to, and I know we need more time to just be with ourselves, with each other, with the kids. And here it's very hustly bustly sometimes. We get lost in the shuffle. Yeah. Are we going to be able to rest with each other there?
Will you pull a card?
Sure. Consider the source. You are receiving strong messages from someone. How is what they are saying uniquely connected to who they are and what they're all about? Do you respect and admire their choices and behaviors or not? Consider the source of these messages as you evaluate them, and decide how you want to relate to and learn from them in this moment.
Why'd you go, huh?
Well, I just had lunch with a friend who said, yeah, you should move here.
Yeah, our friends who have left the city moved to an area that is different from what we're thinking of, but they're probably our closest friends who have kind of done a version of what we're thinking of recently here.
Yeah.
So, what was he saying?
No, it was just saying that there's a lot to offer down south of Lisbon, and but not too far away. That you could still come here on an Uber, and it's not too expensive. And it was interesting when I was talking, because I was like, also, maybe I don't want to be so close. And he said, maybe you're not so far from the city so that you can enjoy some of the city. And I said, maybe I don't want to be so close so I can use it as a crutch and say oh, okay, you know what? We're this close to Lisbon, let's just go back. Or, I want to be far enough away that it is a real choice to come back here for the day and enjoy the museums and the city that we love, but also that we're far enough out in nature that we're enjoying that too and learning to enjoy that.
Can I just notice you have this sort of weird test energy around this? Can I step up to the challenge of doing this thing? And I don't want to be close to the city because it's a temptation and a crutch.
Well, it comes out of the reason why we moved here. We moved here because it felt like everything in the U.S. was very consumerist and everything was geared towards that, and we didn't have enough time for each other and the kids, and and so moving here was part of getting out of swimming against the stream. This is more in alignment with our stream. I also look at this as a test too, to see, okay, if we move outside, are we going to be able to enjoy it? Are we going to be able to really focus on the things that we want to focus? Or are some like material things or so gonna like annoy us and get us and just say like, okay, we can turn back too easily, you know? And I think I'm more worried about that. Like, you know, there are a lot of things that I really love here. I play tennis a lot, able to walk around anywhere and go get an almoço and a tasca, and I'm pretty sure we won't be able to do that over there. I also really like getting out of the house and just walking around. So will I want to do that over there?
We don't have to move out of the city. Because as you're talking about it, it feels like, okay, I gotta brace myself for this thing. It's gonna be really hard and unpleasant. And like, can I do it? Can I just like my way through it? And like, nope, we don't have to do it. Like I am also at this point agnostic and have many concerns about living in the country. I've never done it. I feel like, am I gonna go crazy wandering in fields and scared at night in the darkness of the woods? But yeah, there's just like bracing yourself for this thing energy that's feel like a fun, exciting adventure to try.
No, you know, I think for me it is a fun adventure.
Maybe that's how fun, exciting adventure shows up for you.
Maybe. But it's also like, you know, it's a test and a challenge to say like, oh, can I transcend this? You know, these sometimes like ephemeral wants in a way of like, oh man, it's much more comfortable here, or I want to try something new. I think we're ready to try something new, do something different from what we've done, right? Moving here was part of that. Our priorities are spending more time with each other, the kids, and having them grow up in a way that's a little bit more in tune with who they are. And I think the best way to do that is homeschooling. And so how we can contribute to that best way is really, I think, what I'm trying to think about. You know, all this other stuff that I like enjoy. Can I enjoy these other things like taking hikes or treks in the woods or biking or visiting the beach when it's cold, or being able to enjoy a place that's not a city.
Yeah, just unknown.
Yeah, it's totally unknown. But there are other people, a lot of other people who know. It's unknown for us.
That's actually interesting as I'm looking at those two cards together, because one is who's waiting to help you, who can you ask? And then the other is with the consider the source card, really thinking through who is the person you're getting a message from, and how is this really from their perspective, you know, and taking everything other people say with a grain of salt. So it's like they're guiding us to both get information from other people, learn from other people, but also always remember that everybody's going to be sharing from their perspective with their values and their priority.
And this is why ultimately I sort of make, I think, decisions maybe a little bit more quickly, because I do research in terms of reading, and I will ask people, but not as many as you do. And I won't do as many fora or explore as many fora and ask questions there as you do. But I will reach a point of being like, okay, yeah, this is the most we can know at this point. Let's make a decision. And let's have experience guide us in making the next decision. It feels like a good stopping point. It also feels more clear, actually.
Yeah.
That I think I need to do a little bit more research about, talking to people who are outside of the city, reaching out to friends. But then also considering their resources and their example, like their motivations and where they are, what kind of community they're surrounded themselves by too.
Yeah, because everybody's priorities are different.
They are. They're absolutely different. I think ours are too unique amongst, I think, probably traditional homeschoolers. You know, I think we want a little bit more diversity than I think is traditionally thought of in homeschooling communities. But
that's a good thing for you to research.
Exactly.
Well, I'm glad we got to use these a little bit as we explore this big question together.
Yeah, thank you, love.
You're
That's
welcome.
really helpful, actually. It was helpful because I was reaching a point where I was like, how do we move forward?
I know, I felt like there was smoke coming out of your ears. This gives us a good starting place.
Yeah.
Okay, well, to be continued.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for coming along with us as we've been starting to explore this big question for our family. And today we were using where did the top two go? Oh, it's under this chunky puppy, under his warm belly. We're using the Clarity deck. This is one of the 4 decks from Girls Gone Happy. What we were using today are both the questions and the topics. So the question cards all have different artwork and questions on them, and the topics are different areas of life. Today
For our conversation, we picked the topic of rest.
You turn them around.
And the questions, consider the source and sidekick. Thanks for coming along with us, and we'll keep you posted on how we continue thinking through this big decision, because these cards are really made to help people have deeper conversations and kind of cut through the fuzz and get clear about making choices so that you're living the life that you really want. So thanks for coming along.
Thank you.
Bye.